Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So here I am in Southfield at the park I bring up in my videos, which is on Pierce. And it connects to that shooting, that quadruple homicide that took place 15 minutes away in Livonia. Now there's connections between the word Livonia and Laguna. And there's a lot of wordplay there. You had the word vine, the word gun, and they've been harassing me in a way that has to do with the military-industrial complex and their goals and their propaganda, right? They want people to look at things in terms of military soldiers to some degree, right? And the technological kind of terrorism of the governing class. They want people to look at it in a way that favors the terrorists from the governing class. So I would describe the harassment that's taken place, that they're aiming at me, as a sort of tidal wave of racism. It's aimed at everyone with an emphasis on me, right? You know, they kind of do assessments in regards to personality types. And then they're kind of singling me out for further harassment on top of that. It's like they're throwing rocks at me and harassing me. It's very similar to the Klan. Now, if you look at it in terms of the community, you'll miss the point. The community is involved, yeah, but it's not coming from the community. This community, this exact part of town, as you probably can gather here, it's a pretty quiet part of town, right? See, there's people at the park there, they don't really have any problems with me per se. Kids playing basketball, I mean, some live in the area. You know, they've kind of stared at me to some degree, but they don't really have a problem with me, right? They know I've been out here for a while. And, you know, the community has been rather, you might even say, welcoming to me. Certainly as I walk with my father, they wave at him, what have you. But so it's clearly coming from the governing class, and I've known that for a long time, way before I moved out here. And same thing in California. It's coming first and foremost from the governing class. And the solutions that I've put forth have to do with economic justice. I can't remember me ever putting forward a solution that has to do with race, okay? The solutions like my 10% redistribution plan, 10% over 50 years. People would still be rich, right? Whites, Jews, LGBT, Asians, whoever else would still be disproportionately wealthy with the 10% redistribution plan. But it would solve a lot of problems. It would solve various issues with the healthcare analysis plan, what have you. And obviously, part of it would be a massive infrastructure development plan. We could also think about ways that we could have relocation programs that are done in a way that is more respectable and more precise than what, you know, the Chinese Communist Party did. I'm not a communist. I believe in freedom. I believe in free speech. I believe in justice. I don't believe in secret agendas, secrets. You know, I don't think the secret societies should determine what goes on behind the scenes, as the communist parties of the world basically always have. One of their plans also was a cadre dispatch, right, where they sent 3 million state officials and party cadres, I guess they're called, to live in poverty-stricken areas. So when we look at this, right, how did they get them out of poverty, right? You know, and how does it connect to my war on poverty plan? As I brought up in the video the other day, China lifted nearly 800 million people out of extreme poverty in the last 40 years, about 20 million a year. So if you look at how they did it, you see we can do something similar here in a way that is more free market friendly. I mean, they basically have a free market economy. The government does regulate things to avoid disaster, but they give the private sector a lot of leeway. And it can be done here easily. It can be done in a way that's fair and just and right, that considers people's rights, and it considers justice and fair play. It considers a lot of things. Okay, now I'm kind of making this on the fly, and I just wanted to briefly touch on part of what's going on here. So there's that, right? My point being that my plans have always been fair. I'm not a black supremacist, not a racial supremacist. I'm somebody who believes in being fair and just and right. And if people wanted to segregate, I'd want to live in a multicultural region, right? Black supremacists could live in one region, white supremacists in another. I'd be in a multicultural region where I'd have my rights intact, ideally. Okay. So, yeah, I know I'm having a little trouble maintaining my train of thought here because they're fuming me and they're poisoning me. And that brings me to one last argument I want to make briefly here because of them interfering so much. And that is the idea of the benefit of the doubt. Over the years, America as a group, not individually, not across the board, not anywhere near across the board, but as a group have given the colonial oppressor the benefit of the doubt. When it comes to dating, when it comes to votes, when it comes to a great many things. Okay? And we found that when you give whites and Jews, white and Jewish supremacists and their allies the benefit of the doubt in terms of culture, in terms of these other things, we get a disaster. We get a major disaster. They like to point the finger at each other. It's like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees blaming each other for what's going on. And then you have, Jesus saying, hey, they're both wrong and you should rally to me. And people keep giving them the benefit of the doubt. They date people that follow them, they support them. Okay, they even pretended that government harassment doesn't exist. Even now with all the cancel culture, they still have the nerve to pretend that organized harassment, technological harassment isn't taking place, which is outrageous. So a huge problem we have here in America is that they give the white and Jewish governing class the benefit of the doubt. They give the Freemasons, they give the churches, they give the various institutions the benefit of the doubt. Let me give you an example here. I'll give you two examples. The first one will be a black person who argues that he wasn't given his change at Burger King or something, who's lying about it. Okay, that's a pretty minor issue. Okay, sometimes it's tough luck, right? The second is someone who's targeted by the government, who's the son of two doctors, one a humanitarian and brain surgeon. When society didn't give me the benefit of the doubt in terms of their actual response, like they know what's going on is true, but in terms of their actual response, when they didn't rally to me, when they didn't investigate thoroughly, this country went straight down the drain with no way back. What was the problem here? What brought down America? They didn't scramble to me and give me the benefit of the doubt. Because remember, they lack faith. If they really had faith in God, they would know for sure that what they need to do is rally and obey God through me. But there was doubt inside of them. There was doubt that they should do it. There was doubt that it was the wise thing to do. And instead of saying, hey, I know it's the right thing to do and I'm going to commit to that, they gave the devil the benefit of the doubt that was inside of them. There's no doubt in reality that I'm God's son and the right thing to do is to rally to me. And this has also expressed itself in dating. Over the years when I got rejected on the internet or in person, they gave the state the benefit of the doubt and they did what the state told them to do. The doubt inside of themselves, mind you. Instead of saying, hey, this guy looks like a righteous guy, I'm going to go ahead and not do what the state tells me to do, and I'm going to go ahead and talk to him. And so we see who you find reliable is very key here. They found their families and their communities and the government more reliable than the most righteous person that ever lived. And that's something that was bred into them. That's something that was conditioned into them. So when all was said and done, they didn't make the right choice where it matters most. Okay? They saw the story of Christ in the Bible where the Romans crucified him, the Jews, LGBT community, what have you, and they followed in their footsteps. In their hearts, they were saying, give us Barabbas. In their hearts, they were saying that they believed that the Romans and the Jews in the story in the LGBT community did the right thing. But they didn't do the right thing. And it was obvious. And it's like the most famous story ever told. It's called the greatest story ever told. You know that a population is very miseducated. They've been following people who don't know what they're doing when they don't understand the most obvious moral of the most famous story ever told, which is called the greatest story ever told. Therefore, their failure is the greatest failure ever done. And that's nothing to be proud of.